Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Alan Thomas with Rethink Dieting. I hope you're having a great evening. It is the 26th Facebook Live out of 90, and tonight I'm going to talk to you about something that really I haven't talked about in a while. For you guys that know my story, and I repeat this over and over because there's so many gurus out there, and I'm not a guru, just so you know, but there's so many gurus out there that want to tell us how to eat, how to get thin, and they've got a ton of knowledge. They've got all this information that's valid, all this physical fitness information, all this nutrition information that is absolutely spot on. The challenge is very, very few of them. There's probably some, but very, very few of them really understand what it's like to be morbidly obese. In 2017, I tipped the scale at 304 pounds, and no excuses, just I got fat. And it was I was eating my emotions, I was eating everything out of the pantry, I was eating everything out of the refrigerator. I just couldn't get a handle on it. And at 5'11", I was morbidly obese, and at 55 years old, I knew that my time on earth was really going to be limited. And I just figured I probably had 10 years or less to live. My wife would consider me her first husband because I'd be dead. And, my kids, you've heard me talk about this. I'd be known as, their dad, but somebody else would be called that because my wife would probably be remarried at some point, although she says she wouldn't. Nah, she probably wouldn't. I'm married up. She'd be on the market. And so, the thing that really hit during that time is my weight was holding me back, and I had a business coach, ask me that question: "Is what's holding you back?" And he didn't see me. It was a telephone coaching session that he was doing. I said my weight, and that was really a big turning point for me. That was a tipping point, not just the scales, but realizing my weight was holding me back from not just health stuff. Not just the physical things that are a result of obesity, morbid obesity. All that is super important. You don't get to enjoy anything else if you don't have your health. People who are multi-billionaires who don't have their health, they trade their money for their health. They can get more money, but they can't get health. So it is important, but so much of what I think we're called to do, especially for men, is to be the best version we can be of ourselves. And it is so easy to drift into obesity for a lot of us. And I talk with men every day who struggle with it. I talk to them about the pain they're in, about the struggles. And I hear so often, I can't stick to anything. I'm worried about my family, what's going to happen if something happens to me. They're worried about, just dying. Ultimately, they're worried about death. And I can relate to that. That's where I was. I didn't have any real specialized knowledge other than, 40 years of fighting the battle of the scale going up, up, up. It'd go down for a little while, then it'd go up. And maybe you can relate to this if you struggle with your weight. And I'm not talking about 5 or 10 pounds. I'm talking about 50, 75, 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds of excess weight, and what that does to you, mentally. And, I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or any medical degree, but, just having experienced that and the pain that goes along with it. And I don't say any of this to say, oh, boo-hoo, poor Alan. I say it to really be an encourager for the men that are really struggling, and ladies too, that there is hope beyond the scale. And I'm not saying to ignore it. And I get a lot of flack from people who because I say a lot that the diet and the exercise is not the problem typically. Is it important? Of course it is. You have to change that part. There's no doubt that you do. But really what has to be changed is your thinking. And that's where I came up with this concept of rethink dieting. And I work with men, I coach men predominantly that struggle with their weight, that believe it's holding them back from living a future they were supposed to live. and it's something that's real. And so many men will stop short of speaking up. They'll stop short of taking the next step in their business, in relationships. It affects every aspect of their life. And when you start to hit, when you're 30 and struggle with it, it's embarrassing. But when you hit 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, if you're fortunate enough to still be alive, it becomes, how much longer can I cheat death? I talk to men all the time that have had heart attacks, they've had strokes, they've had all these medical conditions, and while those are super important, and I don't minimize that whatsoever, that is, health is key. What I hear from them so often is the pain that they're in of not being able to do what they really want to do. They can't walk into the business meeting like they used to. They don't feel like they can, and have that power and have the moxie, I guess is the word, that they had when they were younger and thinner. And it's not just the age; it's that weight. And so their weight holds them back. They want to maybe walk in different conversations, maybe in a speaking. I talked to a man a couple of months ago that was, he wanted to go and speak to church organizations, and his weight held him back. He's morbidly obese. But his weight held him back. He didn't feel like he would be taken seriously, and quite frankly, we love it or hate it, this stigma about obesity. When you see somebody that is morbidly obese, it is harder to take them serious. I know that from being that guy. How can somebody trust me with X, when I mean X, with a decision or leadership or whatever, if I couldn't be trusted with a donut? Are you kidding me? And what's so hard about being morbidly obese is people see it. You can't hide it like you can hide a gambling addiction or a alcohol addiction to some level, or a drug addiction. All those things you obviously see, and they're terrible, but obesity is not hidden. It's right out there for everybody to see. And in what I did, I developed all these coping mechanisms. I made jokes about it. I said, well, it's not that bad. I was on a drug for cholesterol, and just a small amount of that, and so it wasn't a big deal. I could say, well, I'm not that sick. I haven't had a stroke. I haven't had this, but it was always yet. And well, certainly there's no guarantee, at any size that you're guaranteed the next day. I think it's really a shame that we give away our future. We give away our future of being the best version of ourselves, and being that person that we know we're capable of being, but we can't get a handle on the fork and spoon. And when I'm working with men, it's so cool to see them step into the power that they have when they're able to control their appetite. They're able to make decisions, and that fit, and the scale starts falling. And it's not it's not about a particular diet. Is that important? Oh God, yeah. Come on, be serious. We're not wiring jaws shut here. But it's really about that man making a decision that he's sick and tired of being sick and tired, and he's not going to take it anymore. And is there a strategy? Yes, there's a strategy. You've got to have a strategy. And when I work with individuals and groups of individuals, the dream is to give them back their dream. That's my dream. Give them back their dream, because at the end of the day, the scales, they just reflect a number, but you cannot deny it. You can't deny when you're I was almost like a 48-inch waist, and I was a 46 with those expandable pants that really made me like a 48, but I was too proud to get a 48. Are you kidding? That's huge. And I saved a pair of those pants because I never want to forget it. And people look at they see my before and after picture a lot, and they're thinking, well, you're just being you're bragging about it. You're being showing off. No, the reason I show that picture is so that I never forget. I never forget what it's like when I work with a man that's struggling. I never want to forget what it's like to be him, and what it was like for me. And maybe I don't know their particular situation 100%, but I've got a pretty good idea what it's like to struggle with obesity and to feel that weakness. But I also have a good idea of what it's like to walk into your 18-year-old son's closet and pull out a pair of his skinny jeans, because I don't have any that fit me. And this was after I lost my weight, and I still can wear those jeans, by the way. After I lost all the weight, I put those on, and they fit me, and they fit me well. And I know what that feels like. Man, I felt great. And see, is it about the clothing? No, it's about the confidence. It's about the confidence. It's about the accomplishment. The clothing, I mean, I had a clothing store with two partners for over a decade and 17 years, I think it was. And so I appreciate fine clothing. There's great clothing out there, and it's fun to walk into a store. I mean, I can walk into the store and I go to a rack and I buy anything I want. It all fits me. I don't have to be embarrassed by going to the big and tall section, and I wasn't tall, and I was just big. So that is embarrassing, but when you get to step into that power and that joy of being an individual that knows that they can tackle this, there's so much confidence built in it. I mean, it changed everything for me. And then it affects people around you. My wife Angie, who didn't have tons of weight to lose, but she dropped weight. Boom, she dropped weight. The family started changing ways. The speed of the pack is the speed of the leader. And as men, and this isn't taking away from the value of a lady. I mean, women have a huge role, and men do too, an equal role. But to lead, to know what it's like to lead and to stand for your family and let them see that you can get your weight off. There's so much momentum that you pick up as an individual, and like I said, it changed everything. So is your weight holding you back? That's really the question. It's not, are you 100 pounds overweight? That's not what I'm asking. What I want to know is your weight holding you back. And what I mean is, it holding you back in life? Is it holding you back in living the version of yourself that you know you're capable of doing? That's what I want to know. That's the question to start asking. Not which should I be eating fat-free cottage cheese. If you like that, that's fine. The real question is your weight holding you back? It's not, can I have 14 extra points on my calorie counter? It's, am I missing out on life? Are those things important? Yeah. You got to get the weight off. Come on. But is that what drives people to make drastic changes and transformation? It wasn't my personal experience. So I approach this from a different standpoint. It's about rethinking dieting, and that really is what it is. If this, and I say this a lot, if the diet industry, if knowledge was really the answer, and it's part of the answer, but if it was the complete answer, the industry, $72 billion industry, just in the United States, that's not counting the rest of the world. There's plenty of obesity to go around in other countries, especially first world countries. But the amount of money spent on diets, people looking for that magic pill that'll help them reach an ideal weight to where they eat what they want, anytime they want, and can have this godlike body. If that was the case, come on, folks, you'd have already made it there. It would have been simple, and that's what's so disappointing. One of the fun things that I get to see with these men, when they realize, when they've struggled for years and they bought into the weight loss industry's claim of fixing them, and they've tried diet after diet and nothing works. I mean, that was me. Diet after diet after diet. In fact, the one that I used, I mean, it's a fantastic eating program. I'd failed on it 4 times, 5 times. I lost count 6 times maybe. So was it the diet? Well, it was a component, sure. But when these men that I work with figure out that they have the power to overcome what's challenged them for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, depending on the age of the individual, man, it's like they light up, and it's fun to see, and you get I get to experience that joy, because I tell all these guys this: I believe for each of us there's a vein of gold when we achieve something, and it might be money, I don't know, but a lot of times it's something that it transcends money. It's a vein of gold in somebody's life that they're missing out on because of the struggle. You know, for me, what was ironic was the vein of gold was helping other men do what I did, and that's my vein of gold. And when I it took me a while to figure it out. It was actually a guy that heard me. Amazing individual. He's lost a lot of weight. He's had dramatic personal results outside of weight loss too. But he heard my story, and he told me his weight was holding him back, and it just clicked. And so, you know, he's very kind to me, and he says, you know, things like I rescued him, got him out of that prison. Well, he actually rescued me because he showed me that I was able to help other people. While I've been helping a lot of people, you know, just off the cuff, it was not until that individual came along that I really understood the impact that this could have. And I don't say this to brag. I say this because it was a struggle. I've learned a lot along the way. I've learned things. I learned something from a client this week. I told him today. It was just he had got amazing distinction from some work I was doing with him, and it's not something where you're going to stop learning. It's not something you're going to solve and it's going to be gone. It's something that you're going to build a muscle with, and you're going to have this muscle that you were able to get your weight off and take pride in that, and build momentum in other areas of your life, and you'll never be the same. You will never be the same. And so, you know, if this resonates with you, share this with somebody. You know, I don't ask that very often. I mean, I share this on my business page, Transform My Future. I share it with the men that are in my private Facebook group called Rethink Dieting for Men. I share it with, my wife's always kind to share it on her page. But if this resonates with you, if what I'm saying to you gets your attention, and you say, you know, I know somebody this can help. You know, there's a lot of hurting people. I mean, 39% of the U.S. population is obese. That is a bunch of people. That's the adult population. It's projected to go to 50% in less than 10 years. 50% of the population will be obese unless we do something about it. I'm on a mission to help men and ladies too. I work with men. My wife works with some ladies. But I'm on a mission to gain back, to lose, for the men to lose over 1 billion pounds. Some people say, how are you going to do that? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it one pound at a time, and it's going to be somebody that takes action, somebody that decides they've had enough, somebody that says, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I'm never ever going back and to that prison of obesity that I lived in. Is somebody that's going to see the door to the cell that they've been beaten on for the last 10 years. They've used this diet and that diet and the other diet. They've gotten personal trainers. They've gone to physicians. They've gone to you know, healers. They've gone to all these different individuals and all these different programs. They've never could beat it. And then when they step up to the prison door and they realize that the door was always open, and they walk outside the door, that's something pretty cool. So share it with somebody who needs that. I know it sounds like a lot of drama, but I promise you, the individual, the man who's laying down on a pillow tonight, who is 130 pounds over, 129 pounds overweight like I was, I promise you he's thinking about it. He may joke about his weight. He may joke about all the things that, you know, his wife or his girlfriend jokes, you know, kids him about. He may even have had a medical condition. Maybe he's had a heart attack or stroke, something like that. But when he lays his head on that pillow, he wants a way out. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a, you know, dietitian, nutritionist, physical fitness expert. I'm just a guy that found a way through the wilderness of obesity, and I know the way out. I'm a step or two ahead of you, but I can help. So if you want to have an honest conversation, go to transformmyfuture.com/apply. Transformmyfuture.com rethinktdieting.com/apply. You can also go to, I've got a master class. I don't talk about this that much, but I've got a master class. You can go to rethinktdieting.com and you watch a 48-minute master class. You've got 40 minutes to hang out. And if you want to have an honest conversation and believe that you would like to have somebody along for the journey, join me. So have a great night. Happy Friday.